Hey up you lot. So this video should have happened like last Sunday, but couldn't. Um, Obviously you've seen by the title of the video, I am going to be discussing Dark Matters, the new Stranglers album. And I reserved it at an honest to God bricks and mortar record shop. And went in to pick it up a couple of days after it had come out, and went to the counter, and the lady was like, "Oh yeah, I think I've just sold the last one of those." I'm like, "Well, you haven't sold like the last one because I reserved one." But no, they'd sold all of them. I wasn't best pleased, to say the least. So she were like, "We could order you another one and it'd be here in a week." I'm like, "No." I go like my dad sometimes, all crotchety and northern. "No, it's my nose and it's my face, and I'm going to cut the bugger off." So I ended up not finding one anywhere else, and went in the same record shop at the weekend just to have a little look. I was just in town, and they remembered me and said, "We've actually got some more in. Did you get one?" And I'm like, "No, I'll have one then." So I got mine. And this should have been uploaded yesterday. But again, things seem to happen on a Sunday. I need to start recording me my vinyl chat video on like a Friday, so I can just upload it on a Sunday and not actually record it on a Sunday, I think. So yeah, this isn't going to be an unbiased review. This is going to be a completely biased review, because I adore the Stranglers and have adored the Stranglers since I was in school. I remember going to Woolworths with some... When me and my sister first got like tape decks back in the 80s, sometimes my mum, if she was a bit flush, bless her, she'd take us to Woolies and we could pick like a $3.99 tape each. And I remember picking Rattus, the first Stranglers album, as my choice of tape. Heaven forbid my mum ever actually listened to the lyrics, because I don't think she would have let me have it. I was already starting to get into punk. I was getting very bored with like 80s rock and the stuff that was in the 80s pop charts. Looking back, some of it was alright, but at the time I was like, I want something different. And I knew I quite liked the Stranglers. I'd heard some of their songs on other compilations I had. And I think I had a compilation called No More Heroes that had No More Heroes on. And that just started an absolute lifelong love of the Stranglers. And then my lovely cousin taped me everything up to Feline, I think. So I got like the rest of it all at once. So I never, like I've said in previous videos with the Stranglers, I never sat waiting for the next LP to come out. I kind of got it all at once, and I'd sit reading weird psychedelic 60s and 70s horror comics in my room, just listening to Stranglers albums over and over and over and over. And everybody's got one of those bands, haven't they, that they know. I think I know every vocal inflection and every little second of every album probably better than the band do, just simply because I listened to them more than the band probably listened to their own records. So I've been so excited about Dark Matters coming out, but it's a very, like, the whole thing of Stranglers fandom right now is very bittersweet. If you don't know, the keyboard player, every member of the band is 100% integral to the sound. And the keyboard player, Dave Greenfield, passed away last year due to medical health complications arising when he contracted COVID. And they were going to do a tour that kept getting delayed because of COVID. It's still not happened. And it was kind of like their goodbye tour. Almost like, we're getting on a bit. we're going to have a last hurrah, and then maybe we're not going to be doing the big tours as much. They said they might carry on doing festivals and stuff. But then Dave passed away, and if you're a Stranglers fan, Dave's arpeggiated riffs are just key to the Stranglers sound. So this record and the tour that's going to be happening next year it's exciting because we're getting a new Stranglers album, and the past few Stranglers albums have been absolutely kick-ass. But like I said, I'm totally biased. I even love... Don't get on at me. Music is very personal. But I even love the Paul Roberts era. I love his like pop star swagger and his crooning baritone voice. Admittedly, like Coup de Grace and Written in Red aren't me favourite Stranglers albums. But for me, everything, like when Norfolk Coast came out, whoa, it's like the lads are back and the kicking me in me audio nuts just with a like, here we go. So with them having this kind of what feels like a resurgence in creativity from Norfolk Coast onwards, really excited to hear what Dark Matters has to offer. And I've started, when I get a new LP, or if I get an old second-hand LP that I've not really heard before, I do the thing that I used to do, and it's an absolute pleasure in my life. I will put my phone on silent, I will do nothing else. I'll put the record on, and I'll sit with the sleeve, I'll read the liner notes, I'll read along with the lyrics, like I did when I was a teenager. And I know a lot of friends that kind of... We've chatted about it and they said, oh, I wish I could find that time. But for me, it's not like finding the time. It is, you know, I brought this LP home. I hadn't listened to it on Spotify. Even though I hadn't got it and it was out, I avoided the temptation of just having a quick listen. I wanted it on my hi-fi, pumping out, with me doing nothing else apart from just drinking it in. All right, maybe stroking Victor if he came for a little nuzzle. But that's it. Nothing disturbs that listening pleasure. And I love doing that. So, let's have a look at Dark Matters. It opens with Water, which is a pretty good opener. It's... One thing that I love about the Stranglers is you never quite know what you're going to get. They sometimes do things that are a bit like, that's unusual, but it works, and I like it. But Water isn't that. Water is just like a bit of a pumping, more traditional Stranglers song. And then into this song, which is a cover of... is it Disciples of Space? It's a cover. And one thing the Stranglers always did was they picked their covers so well. Any covers they've done in the past, everything from like Walk On By up to All Day and All of the Night and 96 Tears, and everything they've picked as a cover has been, seems like a really well considered decision. And I think this is a genius cover. It fits their style totally. And I had heard this one because it was on YouTube with, is it Stuart Pearce? I'm not a football guy. I don't know anything about football. And like a lot of my mates were like, whoa, it's Psycho, hey! And I was like, who that? But anyway, it looks cool in the video. It looks all rugged and ace. So I don't mind what he's done like previously. He's in the Stranglers video and that's pretty flipping awesome. What we got next? Oh, right. And if you should see Dave, I can't listen to it without getting emotional. The Stranglers have been there right from my school days, right up to middle age, and they're almost like a mate that's been there. Every LP, and the solo stuff, Hugh's solo stuff, like JJ's solo stuff, or the LP he did with Dave, all of it, whatever is going on in my head, there's a song that the Stranglers have done that speaks to me at that point in my life. And it's weird, isn't it? When there's somebody, I've met the Stranglers a few times, but as a fan, so at signings, and that's, you know, that's the extent of me meeting them. But it feels like when Dave Greenfield died, it felt like I'd lost a friend. And it's weird because it's a friend you've never met. I'm sure other fans of, not just music, not just the Stranglers, like, I don't know, if you're a huge Star Trek fan or something and one of the cast members dies, maybe it's a similar thing, but it's very odd to mourn for someone that you don't know really at all. I think it's a brilliant song. I also think it's really lovely of the rest of the Stranglers to let us share in that little bit of mourning, because it's a very personal song. It must be real, especially for JJ, who is kind of at the moment like the longest. Him and Dave were the longest serving members of the band since Jet retired. And just that it's so cleverly done. The line, it would be nice to say hello. This is where your solo would go. And there's a whole bit in the song where it's like there's not much happening. It's just the repeated rhythms, the riff and the rhythms, and that's where Dave's solo would have gone, but it's empty. And it's very emotional. It really is. It's going to be an emotional gig. Going to that gig, because they're still doing the gigs. They've not said who's going to be taking over keyboard duties. But they're doing the gigs as a goodbye to the band as they look at retirement, and a goodbye to Dave as well. I've never faced a gig with trepidation. I've faced a gig with trepidation of violence, the Meteors gigs in Leeds that I've been to when I was at college. You know, you'd go in going, this could get a bit out of hand, a little bit like scary, but this is like emotional trepidation. Anyway, let's not keep going on about that. If you're a Stranglers fan, I'm sure you feel something similar. What we got next? If something's going to kill me, it might as well be love. I really like this one. It's got like Dreamtime oral sculpture era kind of feel. The Jim's percussion. I wonder if Jet had like a bit of influence in the percussion, because it's kind of on the offbeat, but then you've got the it's almost like the rhythm, percussion rhythm for Always the Sun. It's that kind of feel to it. It's quite jaunty. I like it. So next up is No Man's Land, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's a belter. So one thing the Stranglers always did really well was like twiddly verse, yeah, this is cool, and then an anthemic chorus that just comes in and smacks you in the chops. And that's what this does. It's like pounding Stranglers. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. And a friend of mine, we were chatting about it, and he said that I hadn't listened to the album yet. He got his because he pre-ordered it from the website. I wanted to buy it from a record shop. And he said there's one on it that's like really kind of black and white era. And I wonder if it's that one. we'll have a natter about it next week, mate, because I think it might be that one. It's a corker. And then next up we've got the lines, which it should come as no surprise that this album has introverted moments, reflective moments, and the lines reminds me a lot of lyrically of Relentless off Sweet 16. It's about getting old. It's about the lines on your face, and we're all getting old. And you go to any Stranglers gig, and there's a lot of chaps my age that are losing their hair. And when the lads come on stage, everybody's like, yes, bouncing about and shoving about, and it's brilliant. But you can get like kind of 10 to 15 minutes before there's quite a few lads there kind of like, whew, give us a minute, play something a bit slower. And I like it. It's quite short. It's just a nice little piece. So that's side one. And I think side one is very good. It's got the things on that a lot of the things we expected. The singles. Side two, ooh. So side two kicks off with Payday, which again, it's like a kind of classic pounding Stranglers song, which you kind of need after the lines at the end of side one. You just need something to lift you up a little bit. But as the Stranglers always do, there's like little musical twists in it that you maybe didn't quite see coming, but they work and everything fits together so beautifully. Which goes then into Down. Now, Down is a real drop in pace. It's very gentle. And I think it shows their ability and versatility as songwriters. That they can bring the audible punches that just make you want to jump about. But they can bring a bit of gravity to their music as well. And I also think it's a really welcome and much needed interlude in the whole context of the album. Because from here on in, things get like full on. Brilliant. Last Men on the Moon. Last Men on the Moon is my favourite song on this album. It's the Stranglers fitting together like a beautiful jigsaw. You've got JJ's chugging bass that it was never just like a bass, never like a rhythmic, like lower octave sound. It was part of the song. It was always as much, it hooked you in as much as Hugh or John Ellis's or Baz's guitar riffs. So you got JJ's bass chugging away, doing interesting and unusual things. You've got Baz's kind of groovy, jangly guitar riffs, which always work. Thankfully, this is one of the songs that David managed to record the keyboard part before he passed away. So you've got Dave's perfect arpeggios and solos just working. You've got like, you can almost see it as a physical thing. You've got JJ's bass, Baz's guitar, and then Dave's keyboard comes and works its way, like sneaks its way in between everything. And then Jim's solid pounding drums just like is the glue that holds the whole thing together. And it's almost like a physical thing. It's like, when I was listening to it, I was trying to find a word to describe it. And it's fucking delicious. It's just perfect Stranglers. And I hope beyond all hope that they play it live. I have heard them play it live. the last couple of times, definitely the last time I saw them before lockdown, um, I'm sure they did that, and it's genius live. But that was like the first time I'd heard it, so I didn't know where the song was going. Now I've listened to it constantly, almost worn a new groove in that part of me LP. Like, yeah, I just hope they do it live. Then there's White Stallion, which took me by surprise. It's like it follows the structure almost of like electro dance. Yes, please. It works. It works so well. One thing I always love about the Stranglers is that you're never quite sure what they're going to do on an LP. You can never kind of put stock in what the next track is going to sound like, because it could be from any kind of musical influence, and I absolutely love that. A lot of my favourite bands, people, might listen to one album and go, "Oh, yeah, I get that. I like that band. That's cool." And then they listen to the next album they bring out and kind of go, "What is this? I don't understand why it's gone like this." But I think as long as any kind of creative performer is trying to do something different, if they miss that mark for me, I still appreciate them and what they're trying to do. But yeah, White Stallion's awesome. And again, I hope they do that live, because it's pretty good. It's good on the LP. It's very good on the LP. But live, I bet that is an absolute belter. Absolute belter. And when you go to any gigs, there's always people that are too cool to dance. And you watch your gig however you want. I'm not criticising you. Like, there's a lot of lads that will watch a gig like that all the way through. I can't keep still. If there's music I love being played live, like yards from me, I can't dance, and I'm a hopeless, uncoordinated dancer. My dad always says I dance like a drummer. I'm a hopeless dancer, but if they do White Stallion live, I guarantee that'll get the people that stand still with their arms folded dancing. And then it wraps up with Breathe, which is a slow builder, but when it does get there, it's brilliant. But that's something that the Stranglers have, and they're no stranger to. That last track that maybe starts off steadier but ends being an absolute banger. Songs like, I've got a big pile of Stranglers LPs down here just to remind myself. Down in the Sewer on Rattus. Genetics on the Raven. My word, that's like... Oh, and Schoolman on No More Heroes. And a lot of the time, the last track is a builder. It builds, and when it gets there, it's just glorious. So yeah, where's the sleeve for this? That's Dark Matters. My only criticism is that it's too short. I wanted more, because I think this is going to be the last full Stranglers album. There's no more. Obviously Dave can't. That keyboard part that's gone. And I don't know. I just feel like with this and the farewell tour, it's kind of it closes a musical chapter on the Stranglers that's been with me like man and lad, just shaping my ideas and putting in a little audio arm round me and saying, it's all right, mate. Do you know there's other people that feel the same way? And we can talk about it. We can elucidate it better than you. You just listen, and we'll tell you the things that we think are in your head. And the world's going to be all right again. And I still do that. It's always, there's two bands, it's the Damned and the Stranglers, that I turn to make myself feel better. And Dark Matters doesn't make me feel better. Dark Matters makes me realise that I'm getting old, and we're all getting old, and my heroes are getting old. So I'll leave it there. Sorry, it's been maybe a bit of a heavy vinyl chat this week. And it's a little bit self-indulgent, me just talking about one album. But it is self-indulgent because this is one of the most important albums for me to come out. Because it closes that book on one of the best, I don't want to say punk, because I was never sure that they were punk. I think they invented post-punk before punk happened. But it closes the chapter on one of the most inventive and thrilling rock and roll bands I have ever heard. So thank you for watching, guys. And I will, if you're coming back for book chat, I'll see you on Wednesday. And if it's vinyl chat, I'm going to record it not on Sunday, because something always happens on a Sunday to take me away from doing my vinyl chat videos. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you folks in the next video.